Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio. Come on in, the Bible Bistro's all warmed up. Well, now, I don't know if it's cold where you are, but here in southwest Ohio, it's getting kind of chilly. It's not cold yet. I mean, not cold as it can get here, but it's getting very fallish to winterish around here. We haven't seen any snow yet, but it's starting to get chilly. So the Bible Bistro, we got some hot and fresh Bible study for you today. It'll warm you right up if you're feeling chilly. Come on in, sit down. We're going to look at verses 2 and 3 today. Get out your Bible and follow along as I read. I'm reading from my translation in Psalm 28, verses 2 and 3. Hear the voice of my supplication when I cry to you, when I lift up my hands to your holy sanctuary. Do not drag me away with the wicked or with the workers of iniquity, those who speak peace to their neighbor, but evil is in their heart. That's verses 2 and 3. Ooh, there's some dark stuff here. Some very, very sobering things here that we need to pay close attention to, okay? Now, we've already gone through I don't want you to be silent to me. I'm calling for deliverance. Don't be deaf. That was the word he used there in verse 1. Lest you're silent to me, and I become like those who go down to the pit. Now, verse 2, we have this prayer that's repeated in verse 6, but we're going to have the first occurrence of it here in verse 2. Hear the voice of my supplication. When I cry, now we've already had that up in verse 1. Here we have, when I cry to you, when I lift up my hands to your holy sanctuary. So the whole entire act of praying, both with the heart, with the voice, the supplication, the cry, and now the posture, the lifting up of hands. So this is a person who is pleading. Physically, the whole person now is involved, posture-wise, with the body, with the mind, with the mouth, with the heart. It's all being funneled into that moment of prayer. He's not distracted, and he's not put off by the fact that he's gone to prayer. No, this is very serious for him. I've given it my all, and I'm standing before or to your holy sanctuary. So the Lord's sanctuary is invoked. He's looking in that direction, or he's standing before it, maybe in his mind's eye. Perhaps he's standing before it physically, and he's lifting up his hands, crying out with his heart, and making supplication. Now notice verse 3. Here's where some of that darkness comes in. Do not drag me away with the wicked. That verb there that's used, and which I've translated drag me. Do not drag me away. Drag away is the verb, and it's first person, so don't drag me away with the wicked. Imagine a battlefield, and there's dead bodies just all over the battlefield. Smoke is rising from the battle, and it's starting to cool off. The smoke is settling, and the stench of death is everywhere. Now you see on this battlefield the men who have to go and identify bodies and bring them off the battlefield. And they go out there and they grab the bodies of these men and they drag them along the ground. And they're dragging them over to a pit because there's a common grave that's been dug for these men. This has happened, and I'm sure will happen yet in the future. You know, when you're far away from home and there's no place to put the body, then you have to put it someplace. And so they've dug a big pit, and they're going to have a mass grave, and they identify the bodies, and then they put the bodies down the pit. But they're dragging them off the field of battle towards that place. And that's exactly the image that we have here. Don't drag me away with the wicked, because why? Where are they going? They're going to the pit. The workers of iniquity. And then he describes the workers of iniquity for us. Those who, now remember Psalm 10, we had our basic definition of the wicked man. Now we're going to add to it. Those who speak peace to their neighbors, but evil is in their heart. Oh, so here, these are the ones. This is not just the wicked. No, these are the folks that do this. They speak peace, but in their heart there's evil intention. More description of the wicked man. Do you want to go there? Is that what you want? Is that where you want to be, in that pit? Well, then what do you need to do? You need to call out to the Lord for deliverance. Ask Him to save you. Ask Him to deliver your soul from the pit. Ask Him not to drag you away with the wicked. Let's apply this to ourselves. David is applying it to himself. Good for David. But David's now in the presence of the Lord. What about you and me? It's time for us to call on His name and ask Him for deliverance. Would you join me in doing that today? Tomorrow we'll be looking at verses 4 and 5. Come back then and we'll read it together on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.